Shalom, giving all praise unto Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemokoha Kodash, double honors unto the apostles of great millstone, and honors to brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. I'm the brother Ibadia coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemokoha Kodash, giving all praise unto Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemokoha Kodash. And in this particular edition, I wanted to superficially touch on this topic. I'm sure brothers would have made more exhaustive videos on this particular topic in the past, in the future, and at present. But I wanted to superficially go over this topic in the hope to edify and to bring you into remembrance that the end of Esau is going to be the World War III. And this is the ever ongoing situation out there within Iran and Israel, wherewith the Iranians are already saying the war has already begun. So as we get to see the escalation of this draconian lifestyle underneath the Red Hebrew Edomite, we're also going to see an escalation to the penultimate battle. Just like how you see within the movie, within the film, there are many strings that are pulled as you move along to the penultimate end, to the what's known as the climax of the film, which we know the climax of this particular film is going to be the World War III. The scripture talks about how there was going to be a woe, and then another woe. And also, too, the scripture talks about how that the salvation of the children of Israel was going to come about at the same time as the Most High was gathering the nations together in order for them to go into battle against each other. Let's get that within the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, so you get a feel for what the scriptures and how these geopolitical situations tie up and link up together. The book of Joel, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse, it says, "For, behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Yahweh and plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations." And we also know, to couple this scripture, to bolster this scripture, that the least of the flock shall draw them out, which we know them to be the Amalekites that are dwelling within the land of Israel right now. Jeremiah 49:20, "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that he hath taken against Edom," right? Job 9:24, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked." First Maccabees, the 1st chapter, on the 21st verse on down, since Alexander reigned and his general reigned after him, iniquity and therefore wickedness increased within the world. Malachi, the 1st chapter, on the 4th verse, "The Most High has loved Jacob and hated Esau, and he's laid the heritage of Esau waste. But his borders was going to be likened unto the border of" what? "The border of the wicked." So Edom is that wicked. And we know the proof of who those Edomites are pursuant to the book of Maccabees. And this is why they removed the book of Maccabees, because it puts into light who these Edomites are as it pertains unto the biblical names, not the names that wherewith they've named themselves. Jeremiah 49:20, Therefore, hear the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the counsel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose, that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, and shall make their habitations, and surely shall he make their habitations desolate with them. Because we got a situation where with this World War III was going to be carried out within the world. Let me get another precept. This is going to be bathed in Edom. Salakia. What? Idumea, that's why. But if you put bathed in there, it's there. Isaiah 34:5. Maybe I got to do a video on this whole topic, because that's going to be a good topic to get into. I might do that at the camp this weekend. Isaiah 34:5. "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment." So this is what's going to come up against Edom, Idumea, and the people against the Lord's curse. That's going to be those ICBM nuclear missiles. Now, what you have to understand is there is a heavy connection. Is that a good word? No. When you got it to where you got the Israel out there, that's a military base for the United States. Period, point blank. The Elder did a video a couple of days ago. He brought it out. Only about 20% of them people there are actually observing the law, statutes, commandments. Okay? And the rest of them are just living out there. They're just living, period, point blank, living underneath, well, living as heathens, okay? And we know that any attack against them Amalekites is going to be an instant retaliation from the United States, and therefore the allied states of the United States, which is the UN, the UK, etc., etc., etc. But we also know, what we also know is that Iran has the support of the Russian government. So when this spews out and spews over, remember, it's already begun. They're saying it's already begun. The leaders of Iran have already said that this conflict that has already begun. So therefore, when this spews out over to covert espionage attacks, and it becomes, and we've seen a little bit of the bombings here and there. We've seen some of them get winked over, looked over, whatever the situation may be, right? We've seen these conflicts go up and down, but we know it's already begun. What we're waiting for is to spew over. What we know from the scriptures is that the MOTB, the RFID chip, was going to come into the earth first, and it was going to be mandated, just like you see mandates all over the place right now. But ultimately, what we know is the end-all be-all of this society is going to be the World War III. And this is what we're reading about. This is the history of the World War III that we're going to be looking back at. Maybe in the chariots, maybe in the kingdom. We're going to say, yeah, remember when the Iranians said that? Okay, that was it, man. That's when, things started to escalate. But the chip came, and then boom. Right? Amid a recent spate of covert espionage attacks on Iranian infrastructures, some publicly known and more than that are possibly unknown, Iran's foreign ministry has declared that the war with Israel has already begun. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, I don't want to say the World War III has begun, because it's not a World War III, but this is a major proponent to that World War III. So make of that what you will. And it's beautiful because we're seeing that these mandates are increasing and escalating towards the MOTB. So everything is just there as the Mosiah has spoken about within the scriptures. And we're going to see it, man. Those we're going to be watching the fireworks from the chariots as spoken about within, I believe it's the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter. A foreign spokesman told the major Israeli national Hebrew language daily paper, Israel has carried out attacks that were intended to destroy our nuclear program for peaceful purposes. And that's what the individual's name is. Declared the war with Israel has already begun, with an ominous message intended as a warning to the public of the Amalekites. So what do you think is going to happen, man? What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, we know that the MLTB is going to be mandated. All right. But what do you think is going to happen of this situation? It's going to be one of these little situations that turn into a big situation, right? Pretty soon. So yeah, that's the video, man. With that, I'm going to say, all praises unto Yahweh, Bashim, Ashai, Bashim, Mukah, HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Watch and pray, man. Honest your brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. I'll see you in the next one. Shalom.